It's done. Newcastle confirm it. Fresh updates have just come out from St. James Park, and the whole football world is talking about it. Eddie Howe has finally spoken out after a tense week, revealing details that no one saw coming. Behind the scenes, there's been emotion, determination, and a few surprises that could shape Newcastle's next few matches. Fans are buzzing after an impressive win, but that's not all. There's much more happening inside the Magpies camp right now. From unexpected revelations to emotional confessions and heroic performances, today's video is packed with news every Newcastle fan needs to know. We'll talk about big changes, honest words from Howe, and the rise of a player who's quickly becoming a fan favorite. So make sure you stay until the end. And if you love Newcastle as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and join our black and white family right now. Eddie Howe has opened up about what he called an unpleasant situation involving Sandro Tonali, but the Newcastle manager's bold choices have once again paid off. After making 8 changes to his starting lineup, Howe guided the Magpies to a convincing 2-0 win over Tottenham Hotspur, booking a well-deserved place in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals. Many doubted whether such a rotated side could perform at this level, but from the very first whistle, Newcastle looked sharp, organised, and hungry. St. James Park roared with pride as Fabian Schär and Nick Woltemade found the back of the net, sealing yet another memorable night on Tyneside. Speaking after the match, Eddie Howe admitted there had been moments of hesitation before settling on his final team selection. When you make that many changes, he said, there's always a small question mark over how the team will gel. But any doubts quickly vanished as Newcastle pressed high, dominated possession and dictated the tempo. Their athleticism and intensity were remarkable considering how little some of these players have featured recently. Howe praised their professionalism, saying it showed how well they've looked after themselves between matches. The Newcastle boss also highlighted the unity within the squad, emphasizing that every player understands the club's expectations and identity. When we make changes, Howe explained, we still expect the performance to reflect who we are as a team. He added that the collective effort was outstanding and that the mentality from the first minute was exactly what he wanted to see. It wasn't just about tactics or fitness. It was about desire, the determination to win every duel and fight for every ball. That passion, he said, defines Newcastle United under his leadership. A key talking point after the match was the return of Sandro Tonali. The Italian midfielder, who had recently been battling illness, delivered a masterclass in control and energy. Howe described Tonali's performance as excellent, praising both his work with the ball and his pressing without it. From the moment he stepped onto the pitch, Tonali looked sharp, confident, and fully committed. His range of passing allowed Newcastle to move the ball quickly and exploit gaps in the Spurs' defense, while his tireless pressing set the tone for the entire team. For Howe, it was a joy to see Tonali back to his best. Howe revealed that Tonali had been honest about his physical condition in the days leading up to the game. The midfielder initially told staff that he wasn't ready to contribute, but as the match approached, his recovery accelerated. It was the right time to bring him back, Howe explained. He's worked so hard behind the scenes. That level of honesty, the manager added, is exactly what makes Tonali so valuable to the group. Even when he can't play, his professionalism and hunger to help the team never fade. On this night, that determination was rewarded with a performance full of purpose and class. The win over Spurs not only lifted spirits but also silenced critics who questioned Howe's rotation strategy. Some pundits had argued that resting so many first-team regulars could backfire. Yet Newcastle's display was both dominant and disciplined. The Magpies defended compactly, pressed with precision, and counterattacked with pace. It was a perfect demonstration of Howe's tactical maturity and his ability to adapt without losing the team's identity. We're always looking for consistency, he said. Whether it's the first-choice 11 or the players stepping in, the standard must stay the same. Beyond the result, Howe focused on what the performance meant for the squad's morale. Every player who came in proved they were ready when called upon. That, according to Howe, is a reflection of the culture built inside the club. Everyone knows their role, he said proudly. We've got a dressing room full of professionals who train hard, support each other, and share one goal, to keep pushing this club forward. It was clear that Newcastle's progress isn't just about star names. It's about unity, belief, and the collective will to compete on every front. Fans at St. James Park were quick to show their appreciation, especially for Toon Army. The Italian's name echoed around the ground as he was substituted late on to a standing ovation. For supporters who had been concerned about his recent absence, seeing him dominate the midfield again was a massive relief. Howe's decision to trust him despite recent setbacks paid off handsomely. Toon Army didn't just play well. He embodied the spirit of Newcastle, relentless, brave, and determined. "It's great for him," Howe said with a smile. "He deserved that reaction." The result means Newcastle are now just 3 wins away from lifting silverware again, and the belief among the players is stronger than ever. Howe insisted that nobody within the club is getting carried away, but the sense of momentum is undeniable. "The challenge," he said, "is to keep this level going." With key players returning to fitness and confidence high, the Magpies look ready to face any opponent. The manager's attention to detail, along with the hunger of players like Toon Army, has given Newcastle real hope of another memorable cup run. As the final whistle blew, Howe took a moment to applaud the fans, acknowledging their unwavering support throughout the match. It was another night where the bond between team and supporters felt unbreakable. Newcastle's 2-0 victory wasn't just a result, it was a statement of intent. Eddie Howe's bold decisions, Sandro Tonali's resurgence, and the squad's togetherness all point towards something special building once again at St. James Park. The Magpies are flying high, and nights like this remind everyone just how far they've come under Howe's guidance. Thomas Frank has stirred controversy after Newcastle's 2-0 win over Tottenham in the Carabao Cup, but his complaints haven't convinced anyone, especially former referee Mark Clattenburg, who made it clear that the Spurs boss had no grounds to argue. The incident in question came from Fabian Schär's opening goal, a header from a Sandro Tonali corner that left Tottenham furious. Frank claimed the goal should never have stood because Jed Spence was tying his bootlaces when the corner was taken. But while Spurs protested, Newcastle carried on, showing focus and ruthlessness as they secured another huge result at St. James Park. From the very first whistle, it was clear that Eddie Howe's men were in control. Newcastle's pressing was relentless, their passing crisp, and their energy unmatched. The hosts looked sharper, faster, and more determined to win every duel. Tottenham, meanwhile, struggled to build momentum, finding themselves pinned inside their own half for long stretches. When the corner came, Tonali's delivery was perfect, Schär rose majestically, and the ball crashed into the net. The home fans erupted, but on the touchline, Thomas Frank and his staff erupted in anger, convinced that the referee should have delayed the corner. In his post-match interview, Thomas Frank doubled down on his protest. "It's a matter of common sense," he said, insisting that the referee, Chris Kavanagh, should have allowed Spence time to retake his defensive position. Frank called it a clear mistake, arguing that the situation had been unfair. "It's very, very rare that I comment on refereeing decisions," he added, "but this one I have to." His comments quickly spread online, sparking debate among pundits and fans alike. However, most observers felt that Tottenham had no real case. The play had continued normally, and nothing in the rules required the referee to stop the game. Mark Clattenburg, one of the most respected referees England has produced, wasted no time addressing Frank's remarks. Speaking to the Geordie Boot Boys, Clattenburg dismissed the complaints outright. "There's absolutely no reason to stop play just because a player is tying his boots," he said firmly. "The referee doesn't need to intervene in that situation." His explanation was simple. Football is continuous, and players are responsible for being ready when the ball is in play. Clattenburg made it clear that Kavanagh's decision was correct, and Newcastle's goal was perfectly legitimate according to the laws of the game. Eddie Howe, for his part, chose not to get drawn into the drama. When asked about the incident by Sky Sports, the Newcastle boss smiled and admitted he hadn't seen what happened. "I was focused on our performance," he said. "We were aggressive, composed, and clinical." His calm reaction only highlighted the difference in tone between the two managers. While Frank was still fuming about the referee's lack of common sense, Howe preferred to praise his players' professionalism and focus. In truth, The argument over the corner seemed to matter little. Newcastle had been the better team by a mile. Even neutral fans could see the difference between the two sides. Newcastle looked organized and full of purpose, while Tottenham lacked spark and composure. Aaron Ramsdale, standing in goal for the Magpies, had to make a few solid saves, but it was never a frantic night for him. Scar's opener came as the inevitable result of sustained pressure, and when Nick Woltemade added the second after the interval, the contest was effectively over. By that stage, the only drama left was Frank's ongoing frustration with the officials, frustration that increasingly seemed more like deflection than justification. Clattenburg went further in his comments, reminding everyone that referees have to manage the flow of the game, not cater to every player's delay. If you stop for something as trivial as laces, he said, you'd never finish a match. He also noted that Newcastle had done nothing unsporting. Toon Army simply took the corner when the referee gave him permission. That, Clattenburg argued, is all that matters. His verdict effectively shut down the controversy, confirming what most fans had already concluded. Tottenham's protests were pointless, and Newcastle's win was fully deserved. For the Magpies, this victory was about much more than just a place in the quarter-finals. It was proof of how far the team has come under Howe's guidance. In previous years, Newcastle might have been rattled by such a dispute or lost focus after an argument with the officials. Not anymore. The current side stayed composed, trusted the process, and saw the game out professionally. It was another example of Howe's calm influence and the mental resilience he's instilled in his squad. Even in moments of controversy, Newcastle now look like a team that believes in itself completely. After the match, fans on Tyneside mocked the complaints on social media, with many calling Frank's remarks sour grapes. Memes of Jed Spence tying his boots flooded X, formerly Twitter, while Newcastle supporters joked that even his laces couldn't stop the Magpies from flying high. It summed up the mood perfectly. This was a team and fanbase united, enjoying their football and laughing off distractions. For Howe and his players, the focus quickly shifted to the next challenge, preparing for Fulham in the quarter-finals and maintaining momentum in both domestic and European competitions. In the end, what could have been a controversial talking point turned into yet another example of Newcastle's strength and composure. They didn't let complaints or headlines distract them from the real story, their football. As Clattenburg rightly pointed out, there was nothing wrong with the goal, nothing unfair about the play, and nothing to apologize for. Newcastle were the better team in every department, from defense to attack, and deserved their victory completely. As Howe said afterward, you can't control what others say, but you can control your response, and tonight, our response was perfect. Sandro Tonali couldn't stop smiling after Newcastle's 2-0 win over Tottenham, but his praise wasn't directed at himself. Instead, the Italian midfielder used his post-match interview to shine a light on teammate Nick Woltemade, not for his goal scoring, but for his defensive work. It was a comment that surprised many, especially considering Woltemade's reputation as a clinical finisher. But for Toon Army, the striker's tireless effort and willingness to defend from the front were just as valuable as the goals he scores. His words summed up the spirit inside the Newcastle camp: unselfish, united, and determined to win together. The victory over Spurs marked Newcastle's third straight home win, a run that has reignited belief among supporters. Fabian Scar's precise header opened the scoring, before Woltemade doubled the lead shortly after half-time with another superb finish. It was his sixth goal of the season, and his calmness in front of goal stood out once again. But while fans celebrated his attacking brilliance, Toon Army was keen to talk about something else entirely: the work Woltemade does when the team doesn't have the ball. He runs for 90 minutes, Toon Army said. He's our first defender and our first attacker. Those few words perfectly captured what Eddie Howe has been trying to build. Under his management, Newcastle have become known not just for their intensity, but for their collective discipline. Every player understands that defending starts from the front. For a striker like Woltemade to embrace that responsibility so fully is a huge asset. Toon Army's praise was genuine and heartfelt. "He's incredible," the Italian continued. "He plays everywhere, midfield, defense, attack. He never stops." It was the kind of comment that shows how much mutual respect exists among Howe's squad. During the game, Woltermade's contribution was clear to see. His pressing forced Tottenham's defenders into mistakes, while his clever positioning made it difficult for them to build from the back. Even when he didn't have the ball, he was influencing the match, closing angles, tracking runners, and keeping the pressure on. When the chance came, he took it clinically, heading past the keeper with calm precision. That balance between hard work and quality finishing has made him one of the standout players in this cup run. For Toon Army, it's exactly the mentality Newcastle need if they're to challenge for trophies. Toon Army himself had an outstanding night. Back in the starting lineup after illness, he dictated the tempo from midfield with poise and precision. His delivery for Scar's opener was inch-perfect, curling into the danger zone at just the right height. But beyond the assist, his energy and leadership set the tone for the rest of the team. Toon Army covered every blade of grass, pressing high, winning tackles, and restarting attacks. He was voted man of the match, but his humility shone through afterward. "It's not about me," he said. "It's about how we play as a team." Eddie Howe echoed those sentiments in his post-match comments. "Sandro was excellent, full of energy, intelligence, and control," the manager said. "He and Nick worked brilliantly together. Their understanding of pressing triggers was fantastic." Howe's satisfaction was clear, not just with the result but with the way his players applied themselves. In many ways, this was one of Newcastle's most complete performances of the season, a mix of structure, aggression, and flair. The link between Toon Army and Woltermade was central to that success, showing how well the side is evolving. For Woltermade, this kind of praise means a lot. At just 22, he's still settling into life in English football, adapting to the speed and physicality of the Premier League and domestic cups. Yet his composure under pressure has been remarkable. He doesn't just score goals, he plays with intelligence and maturity beyond his years. The connection he's built with Toon Army and Scar has given Newcastle a new attacking dimension. Whether dropping deep to link play or sprinting behind defenses, Woltermade's versatility makes him a nightmare to mark. Toon Army's admiration for him reflects that growing influence. Supporters have quickly fallen in love with Woltermade's style. He's tall, strong, and surprisingly elegant on the ball, combining a striker's instincts with a midfielder's awareness. Fans appreciate his attitude as much as his talent, always fighting for every ball, always celebrating with his teammates first. After his goal against Spurs, he pointed straight to Toon Army in acknowledgement of the assist, a gesture that captured the bond between them. For a club built on passion and togetherness, moments like that are everything. The St. James Park crowd could feel it. This is a partnership that's blossoming beautifully. Toon Army's comments after the game also spoke volumes about the culture Howe has created. Instead of focusing on individual glory, Newcastle's players talk about teamwork, pressing, and collective improvement. "It's important to play quality football," Toon Army said, "but it's even more important to play for each other." Those words could easily have come from Howe himself. The Italian's attitude mirrors his manager's philosophy perfectly: humility, hard work, and trust in the process. As long as players like Toon Army and Woltermade lead by example, Newcastle's future looks incredibly bright. As Newcastle now prepare for their quarter-final clash against Fulham, the mood inside the camp is electric. The connection between the players, the manager, and the fans has rarely been stronger. Toon Army's return to form, Woltermade's consistency, and Howe's tactical clarity have combined to create a team that looks confident, balanced, and fearless. They're not just winning games, they're winning hearts. Nights like this remind everyone that Newcastle United are building something real, something that could last. And if Toon Army and Woltermade keep performing like this, that silverware dream might just come true sooner than anyone expected. Eddie Howe has revealed that Aaron Ramsdale was desperate to join Newcastle United this summer, and after his latest performance, fans can see exactly why. The England international, currently on loan from Southampton, produced a superb display in the 2-0 Carabao Cup victory over Tottenham, reminding everyone why he's so highly rated. Although he hasn't had many chances to play since arriving at St. James Park, Ramsdale grabbed his opportunity with both hands, delivering a confident, composed performance that impressed teammates and supporters alike. Howe's praise after the match was full of admiration and genuine affection. Speaking to Newcastle World, Howe said he was delighted with Ramsdale's impact. "He was excellent tonight," the manager began. "That save in the second half was exceptional. Pure reflex, strength, and agility." The stop he referred to came when Tottenham threatened a comeback, a close-range effort that Ramsdale somehow clawed away with lightning reactions. For Howe, it summed up everything he admires about the goalkeeper: resilience, focus, and professionalism. The manager stressed that Ramsdale's distribution is one of his best qualities, helping Newcastle maintain their fast, attacking rhythm even under pressure. Ramsdale's journey to Newcastle has been anything but simple. After a mixed spell with Arsenal, where he was often scrutinized despite solid performances, he moved to Southampton seeking more minutes. Yet it was Newcastle who reignited his ambitions. Howe revealed that Ramsdale was the one pushing hardest for the transfer, showing eagerness and belief in the project. "He wanted this move," Howe said firmly. "He was desperate to be here. His attitude has been perfect since the day he arrived." Those words underline the sense of gratitude Ramsdale feels just to be part of this ambitious squad. What has impressed Howe most, however, is Ramsdale's behavior when not playing. Competing with Nick Pope for the number 1 shirt is no easy task, but there's been no sulking or negativity. "He wants to play more," Howe admitted, but has supported Nick brilliantly. "His energy has been fantastic for the group." That positivity has helped maintain harmony in the dressing room, ensuring healthy competition without conflict. Ramsdale's attitude, according to Howe, has set an example for younger players learning what professionalism truly means at the top level of football. Ramsdale's display against Tottenham reflected that mindset perfectly. Confident with the ball at his feet, vocal in organizing the defense, and brave in one-on-one situations, he exuded calm from start to finish. His reflex save in the second half drew huge applause from the Gallowgate end, a moment that seemed to solidify his place in fans' hearts. After the final whistle, supporters chanted his name as he applauded them in return. It was a simple exchange of respect, a reminder of how quickly players who give their all can earn admiration in Newcastle colours. Howe's praise didn't stop at performance level. He pointed out how Ramsdale's presence in training has lifted the standards across the squad. "He's constantly pushing everyone," Howe explained. "The way he trains, the focus he brings, it's contagious." That intensity has rubbed off on the other goalkeepers too, creating a strong unit under the watchful eye of the club's goalkeeping coaches. For Howe, this culture of competition is vital. "You can't build a successful team without players like Aaron," he said. "He brings quality, character, and belief every single day." Behind the scenes, Ramsdale's integration has been seamless. Teammates describe him as upbeat, approachable, and full of humor, qualities that fit perfectly with the camaraderie in Howe's squad. Despite being relatively new, he's already seen as a vocal leader in the dressing room. That influence goes beyond match days, as Ramsdale constantly encourages his teammates and shares experiences from his time at Arsenal and with the England national team. For a club aiming to climb higher both domestically and in Europe, having personalities like his around is invaluable. The timing of Ramsdale's form couldn't be better. With fixtures piling up across multiple competitions, Howe knows rotation is inevitable. Having a goalkeeper who can step in seamlessly and deliver top-class performances gives Newcastle a major advantage. Fans have long admired Nick Pope, but Ramsdale's emergence as a reliable deputy ensures the team remains strong regardless of selection. "That's exactly what we need," Howe said. "Depth, commitment, and quality all around the pitch. It's the kind of problem every top manager loves to have. 2 goalkeepers capable of starting at Premier League level." Newcastle's progression to the Carabao Cup quarter-finals adds another layer of excitement to their season. The Magpies are defending champions, and with Ramsdale, Toon, Waltermaid, and others in such fine form, belief is growing again. Howe's side look balanced, focused, and ready for more challenges ahead. For Ramsdale personally, this could be a turning point, a chance to remind Gareth Southgate and the wider football world that he remains one of England's best. His hunger to succeed matches the club's ambitions perfectly, creating a bond that could last well beyond this loan spell. As Howe summed up after the match, he's been patient, he's been professional, and he's been brilliant. I couldn't ask for more. Those words perfectly capture the atmosphere around Newcastle right now. One of pride, unity, and momentum. Ramsdale's story is another reminder that at this club, effort never goes unnoticed. Whether starting or supporting from the bench, he represents the values that Howe has worked so hard to instill. And as the Magpies march on in pursuit of another trophy, Ramsdale's determination could yet prove to be one of their most important assets. What a night for Newcastle United. 4 incredible stories, and every one of them shows why this team is special. Eddie Howe's courage and leadership keep inspiring everyone at the club, while Sandro Tonali's comeback reminded us what true professionalism looks like. Nick Woltermade's work rate and talent continue to grow, and Aaron Ramsdale's passion proves why he was desperate to be here. The spirit in the dressing room is stronger than ever. Do you believe this unity will take Newcastle all the way to another trophy this season? Eddie Howe made 8 changes and still won comfortably. That's real squad depth, isn't it? Sandro Tonali looked back to his best and played with joy again. Do you think he's now ready to dominate the Premier League? Nick Woltermade keeps scoring but also defends like a warrior. Is he already becoming one of Newcastle's most complete forwards? And Aaron Ramsdale, calm and confident, showed that competition brings the best out of everyone. Do you think he should get more starts ahead of Nick Pope? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Lads, this channel is built by fans who truly love the Magpies. People like you who never stop believing. Together we'll keep celebrating every win, every tackle, every goal that makes this club great. Newcastle are on the rise again, and you can feel it in every match. The future is bright, the team is hungry, and the fans are louder than ever. Wait, before you go, check out this breaking video from Newcastle.